Everton 2, Liverpool 0, and this is the worst death that a club could possibly die in any realm of life, in any circumstance. This is the worst way to go out. This is the worst way to bottle it. If you talk about Arsenal Football Club, you talk about the way they handled themselves, we've bottled it worse than they did last year. By a country mile. By a country mile. To be top of the league, even if it was only a fine margin, few amount of points, and to get knocked out of the Europa League by Atalanta, to lose to teams like Manchester United, Everton, very poor performing teams, is a testament to how bad we've been. And we got worse when the supposed best players came back. Those best players should hang their head in shame because they were absolutely abysmal. When I saw Nunes and Salah on the scoreboard, I changed my prediction from a 1-1 to a 2-0 loss, and we ended up losing 2-0. And I knew we weren't going to score, and I knew that it weren't going to be the case because Everton are always up for this game. And whatever you want to say about Goodison and the fans, they have got something at their football club that is still, I want to say, sort of unified with old school football fandom, in a sense that it's a lot of locals, it's a lot of people who have season tickets and have had season tickets for a long time. And the roar of the Everton fans constantly throughout the game. I live not too far away from the stadiums. I could hear the stadium, and I knew it weren't Liverpool fans chanting. And it was a environment that, as I've said before, these players don't know how to live in the fire. And because they don't know how to live in the fire, you get absolute bottle performances like what you've seen today, like what you've seen against Manchester United, like what you've seen against Atalanta. When we got, even in the second leg, we got one goal in the second leg in the first 7 minutes and did nothing and proceeded to do nothing but sit on our arses for the remaining of the game. So when you consider the fact we bottled it against Atalanta at Anfield and then away from home, Manchester United and Everton, who have both had some of their worst seasons in history, I'm telling you, there is something awfully, awfully disconnected and discombobulated about this team. And I would actually even throw into question maybe the people who were sitting there saying maybe we shouldn't have got rid of James Milner and Jordan Henderson at the same time. You might just have a point because there's a lack of bollocks in this team. And that was the one thing, even though they had a lack of ability towards the end of their career, one thing you can say about those two players, they absolutely categorically knew how to get players' heads out of arses. And for that reason, I think a presence like that would have been good. I think the presence of Virgil van Dijk hasn't been enough as a captain to sway the team or, you know, create a sense of urgency for the side. I don't think Trent is meant to be in that role anyway. I think it's got to fall on Van Dijk. And you can blame the injuries how you want to. End of the day, when the injured players came back, we got worse. We got worse, and we are dying the most painful death that a football club could suffer. We've bottled it more than any other team in recent history by a good, comfortable distance. It's not like we got knocked out of the Champions League. We got knocked out of the Europa League. It's not like that we lost to... we did lose to Arsenal, but we still had more than an opportunity when we lost to Arsenal to continue the title race. And we bottled it to United and we bottled it to Everton. And, you know, it's not even bottled at this point. It's just when you're in the fire, Manchester United, as crap as they are, know how to compete in the fire probably more than we do, because they probably go less on ability, but they go more on, we know how to get last moment winners and all this stuff. And then Everton, they've got Sean Dyche. He's literally a manager made for these type of occasions where you're in the bottom three and you're trying to stay up and you really need a result, which, regardless of the Nottingham Forest result, I mean, they needed this game. They needed this 3 points. And that's just solidified them top. And not to mention, this is Everton. I mean, I saw so many stupid idiots before the game saying, oh, they're not going to score, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that. I'm telling you, like, if you know a game against Everton, you know it's always a problem. It's always been that way under Klopp. We've relied on last-minute goals, Van Dijk miss-hit balls, and Origi last-minute winners and all that to beat Everton. It's not an easy game, and it's because they're always up for it. There's a spirit around that football club where they're up for playing us every single time. Like, it is their biggest game of the season. Like, really, and that's not me even being, like, disrespectful or trying to even get a point here. It is. And they treat it like it, and really it should be ours as well in a lot of ways. But we have died the most painful death that a football club could die. I've said that probably now for the third time, and I've said it because it's not good enough, and I didn't want to come on here and rant or rave or come on here and do all this because it's no point. There's no point. I've already made the points clear. The players don't know how to survive in war. The players aren't brave, confident, whatever term you want to use, enough to be able to grab us out of these situations single-handedly. There isn't a Steven Gerrard-like person in the team. I think McAllister has tried to step up to that plate and done really, really well at it. Probably one of the better standouts today. Really was heavily marked by the Everton team, but unfortunately, through the lack of support, through the lack of cohesion, it's going to affect everybody, and you can't really sit there and give anyone a strong sense of praise when you have died the way you have died this season. And it's a shame. Jurgen Klopp, in an alternative world, would have 3 Premier Leagues, 3 Champions Leagues, and that would be amazing. Instead, he's leaving with 1 of each, and he's having the worst possible end to his career possible. And again, I said this in a previous video, this is proof there's no script writers in football, because there's no script writer that would be heartless enough. I don't even think a United fan would be heartless enough for this. I think a United fan would write down what's already happened, like Liverpool don't beat us in Klopp's final season, and then I'm sure they would be sound enough to stop there. This is malicious. This is, you've lost to your 2 main rivals, you're out of the title race, 4 finals, or what could have been 4 finals has turned into 4 friendlies. You could have won 4 trophies, you've went to win 1 on penalties against the crap Chelsea side, and it's a very, very underwhelming season, even though at the beginning of the season you probably take it. But you saw what this team was capable of. You saw that it was capable of competing for the league title, and when it mattered, they bottled it. Darwin Núñez bottled it. Salah bottled it. Midfield bottled it. Defence, crap. Really bad. And it is what it is. Klopp's going to go, and we've got to sit here and work out what is the motivation for the final 4 games of the season. Is it we go to these 4 games and just celebrate the manager? Because that would be my vote. Do we go into these 4 games and delusionally believe that, oh my goodness, we could still win this title? Because let's say, weirdly, Arsenal drop points in 1 game, let's say to the next one, and then we win, and then City drop points in 1 game. It's like, oh, there's a window. It's like, no, it's not going to happen. But I'm curious to see if any fans do take that approach. Like, I'm going to be curious to see, you know, in these final few games, our fans online and our fans at the stadium going to be saying, we're going to win this because we're sound, and, you know, there's still hope. It's mathematically possible. I'm wondering, and I hope there isn't, because it's not. It's just going to drain you. It's just going to drain you. It's going to make me think you don't know ball. So I'm going to be honest, and I think you can see that I've definitely tapped out of this season now. I think it's the worst possible way to end it. I'm upset that Klopp is going, but I'm kind of ready for it to happen now. And yeah, it's a shame that it's ended like this, to be honest. And I would love to give you the great tactical overview on the game. I want to give Everton massive praise. Well, I don't want to, but you've got to. They wanted it more. They bullied us. They outfought us. They took their chances, and they simply wanted it more. That's the difference sometimes. And I said this in the previous videos. This team doesn't know how to battle or be in battle or go through the fire with each other. They don't know how to do it. I'm telling you, people. And that, going into next season, is a task that the new manager is going to have to fill out and try and fill this void of lack of leadership, lack of cohesion, lack of being able to handle the big games. And you bottled it in the Europa League quarter-final. You've bottled it against Everton and United in the league. You bottled it in the FA Cup against United. You just about beat Chelsea on penalties, and that was only because the kids were playing. I can guarantee you, if we had more of the first team options, we'd have found a way to fuck that up as well. And it's just because it seems to be what this team does. This current crop of players, this specific group, they find a way to fuck things up. And that needs to be changed into next season. Klopp isn't staying long enough to be able to make a second team. And quite frankly, I'm hoping that Liverpool as a football club are heading into a phase where it's no longer primarily developmental and, it's going to be a 3 or 4 year project. I understand You do sometimes just happen to go through a 3-4 year project. But I would like to think from the owners, they're thinking this next manager is going to come in and he's going to win the league straight away with the investment that we're going to put behind him. And I hope we don't make the same mistake of, let's say we get another gem like Jurgen Klopp or someone different. Please back him. Please, Klopp has been backed to a good degree, but the next manager needs to be backed to the level that other clubs are being backed. And that's the only way that we compete, because we've done a lot of our business well. When Michael Edwards was here, the business was great. He's now back. You probably expect the business to increase again, but we just need to get that ruthless volume of investment into the club. And volume is important, because I do think that we need to make quite a few changes. But I also don't want to sit there and say, write off the whole team. It's a young team. They've still done quite fairly well. Like, again, I still think, like, if you go back to the start of the season, I told you, we didn't know Klopp was leaving, but I said to you, we're going to win a cup and we're going to get top 4. After last season, you're probably taking that, and like, it's a shame that we haven't been able to maintain it. But there's still, like, it's weird. It's still being a good team to watch. It's just very inexperienced. Maybe not a good team to watch actually, but you know what I mean. Like, they've got results and they've done things well. So that's it. That's Jurgen Klopp's chapter done. I am so pleased that I got to witness it all. I'm just devastated with how it's going to end. I'm ready to say goodbye now. This has been a heart-wrenching season. And it was always going to be a heart-wrenching season unless we found a way to win the league or to win the Europa League possibly. It's times like right now where you're really wishing you was in that Europa League, because it leaves something to hold on to for the rest of the season, but instead you're going to go out dying in the Premier League, which is great. So yeah, you know, I like, genuinely, I'm just numb to the game and to the thing. I'm not really in entertainer mode. I'm just numb. I'm here. I am a balanced human being right now. My chemicals in my body have just gone like neutral. And that's my point of view on it. Let me know what you thought about the game, the performance, the result. Let me know what type of fan you are. Are you still hopeful for the title, or are you very much just like not wanting to watch the rest of the season like me? And if you go to the stadium, you're just going to be there to support the manager, because I couldn't think of 4 more meaningless games. I really couldn't. The only one I'd say I'm semi-looking forward to is the final game, because then we can get a proper chance to send Jurgen Klopp out in a way that he deserves. But I'm getting a very 13-14 vibe about this season. You know, we started that season well and we dwindled off. So that's what I'm getting right now. And I'm even getting like 14-15, where Gerrard lost like 6-1 on his last game. I'm feeling like we're going to get absolutely bummed the way we're going. I really do. I feel like we're going to go and play. I don't know who's our last game of the season, but I feel like we're going to get bummed. It's this weird feeling like this is going to end terribly. It's probably going to get worse. And because it's going to get worse, we're going to have to suffer with the idea that Jurgen Klopp had a terrible end to his Liverpool career. That's where I feel like it's going. I don't have no hope for these players anymore. I wonder if it's going to... I mean, for this season, maybe in the future they come good, but not now. And I do wonder, with the lack of pressure, because we are out the title race, I'm sure the players, that has to start to seep in now. There's no way you genuinely believe, hooked up to a lie detector test, you think we're going to win the league. No way. Not if you know anything about the current circumstances. So yeah, that's it's a hugely problematic situation we find ourselves in. It could either go really, really bad, or we could go out fighting. But unfortunately, if we were going to go out fighting, I'd have probably seen a little bit of that fight today, and it didn't. So, game over. Well done, Everton. They were definitely the more deserved team. I hate it when opposition fans just say like, oh, we were crap, that's why they won. Nah, they wanted it more. They bullied us. They got the result. Deserved it, to be honest. By a comfortable distance. Could have been more. So yeah, thank you for watching. And sayonara. Ta-da.